Hey guys, CryptoDad here again, and today I'm going to review the new Cobo Vault Pro hardware wallet. I'm going to do an unboxing, I'll set it up for you, and show you how to do some test transactions. So let's jump in. Alright, so here I am on the Cobo shop page where you can purchase the Cobo Vault Pro. It is a hardware wallet that stores the private keys on a device that is completely disconnected from the internet. There are no connections whatsoever to your private key. You are able to sign transactions by interfacing with an app, a companion app that you download by scanning QR codes. So it's a very safe and secure hardware wallet for storing your cryptocurrency. So today I'm going to show you how to get it unboxed and set up, and I'll do a couple of test transactions for you. Okay, I'm going to run you through the unboxing of this thing, which I did previously. Kind of give you the highlights. We're going to open this guy up, and you'll see that there's two different compartments. One compartment has the battery, the rechargeable battery with a cable, which is my preferred method. And then the other compartment, of course, has the Cobo Vault itself inside there. All right, you get a little coupon there. And there's the Cobo Vault. Looks like a little tablet, small phone, I guess. A little smaller than a regular phone. All right, and then it comes with a manual and a little card for writing down your recovery phrase and a warranty card. All right, it's a pretty decent manual. Notice that it's got a camera and a fingerprint sensor on the back, which is pretty cool. So that you can unlock the device with your fingerprint rather than having to type your password. All right, so the original battery compartment is for AAA. And inside there's that little SD card slot for doing your upgrades and firmware upgrades, that kind of thing. All right, so you'll charge up that rechargeable for a bit. And then when that guy's charged up, while that's charging, you can go ahead and get their app. You'll want to scan that QR code with your phone, and then that'll take you right to their page for downloading the companion app. You're going to need this in order to interface with the device. Like I said, the private keys are completely disconnected from the internet. I'm not going to bind it to the hardware device at the moment, right? We'll just save that for later. Let's go ahead and get the battery on there and power up the device. And once it's powered up, we're going to choose our language, English, for me. All right, and then I'm going to skip that verification step. We can do that later. We're going to need to choose a password. It has to be a difficult one, but you can override this later with your fingerprint. All right, and you're going to create a new vault, and it's going to give you a 24-word recovery phrase, which you're going to need to write down in a safe place and keep it safe. All right, so you're going to want to write this down and keep it in a safe place. You can write it on the card that they give you, but I like to write it on a sheet of paper and make note of what wallet it's for and the date, and write down the numbers, because the order of the words is important. You want to make sure that you get the words in order on your recovery sheet. All righty. All right, now that we've got our seed phrase written down and stored somewhere safely, we're going to continue with the setup. Let's go ahead and do that verification, right? I'm going to walk you through that. So we're going to go over to the main menu. We're going to turn on that little camera there, and then we're going to go to their web authentication page. There's a link to that down in the description. You're just going to scan this QR code with your device, right? And once you've done that, you're going to get a code, which you can't see because it's behind me. All right, I was in the way, right? All right, so there's going to be a code on your device, which you'll enter. You can see me entering it. Okay. And then the device will be authorized and secure, right? That's the factory check to make sure you've got a authorized device. All right, so let's move on a little bit from there. All right, looks like now I'm going back into the settings here, and I'm going to set that timeout length. The timeout length, I set it to 10 minutes. I think the default was 30 seconds or 1 minute. Really irritating because the device keeps going to sleep. Right? We don't want that, right? We want to give ourselves some time before the device goes to sleep and we have to re-enter the password. But actually, I'm going to move on after this and go into the fingerprinting setup, which makes it much easier to enter the password. All right, we're going to go into fingerprint settings here. All right, we have to enter our password, of course, to get into that. And then there's a fingerprint sensor on the back, which we'll run our fingerprint across a few times till we get it set up. And that's good. You can add more than one if you want. Now, at this point, I'm going to sync to the mobile. This is that hardware binding that we skipped earlier. So basically, we're going to have that code ready. This is the sync mobile setting. We'll just open up our mobile app, and we're going to go to the scan feature and scan in that dynamic QR code until it's happy. All right, now we've got our device synced up. All right, now I am going to show you how to deposit some Bitcoin into this device. It's really trivial to deposit Bitcoin into this wallet. You don't have to sign the transaction when you're sending Bitcoin into it, but just for your edification, I'm going to show you how you get some Bitcoin in here. And the really interesting part is how you get Bitcoin out, right? That's when you have to do the signed transaction scanning and stuff. So let's go ahead and I'll show you that. All right, so we're just going to tap our Bitcoin there and do a receive. All right, I'll just tap the receive button there lightly. All right, and there's that address. So the address that I want to send to, I'm going to copy into my clipboard. Oh, actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go into the mobile app for Ledger and do a send, right? That way I can just paste it in. I'll hit continue there. Sorry, it got a little blurry right here. But anyway, I'm sending some Bitcoin into the device by just pasting the address into my Ledger app. And of course, I'm going to need to sign the transaction on my Ledger in order to get it to go out to my Cobo vault. All right, so I'm going to enter the Bitcoin app, right, and then sign the transaction. This is really not related to Cobo vault that much. It's just me sending some Bitcoin into the Cobo vault using the address that I generated in the Cobo vault app. All right, and then once I've sent that Bitcoin out, it will be arriving in the Cobo vault. And then you can see there it is. It comes into the Cobo vault. So there we go. And you can also see that I did this once before, but I wasn't recording, so I had to redo it so I could show you what's going on. All right, so I'm doing the same thing now with Ethereum. Copy that Ethereum address into my clipboard. I'm going to go over to my Ledger app, go to Ethereum. I'm going to send, and then I'll paste in that Cobo vault address for my send. And I'll send a little bit of my Ethereum over. It's not really that important. But there we go. I'm sending some Ethereum into the Cobo vault. And of course, I'm going to need to sign the transaction for the Ethereum as well. And like I said, this is just the security of the ledger. This doesn't directly relate to the Cobo vault that much, but I'm just signing the transaction as it goes out. Now, this is a good contrast here because you can see to sign a transaction on the ledger, I have to use the buttons. But when we get to the Cobo vault, we're going to be signing transactions by scanning QR codes. So it's pretty good contrast. All right, now here we are going to send some Bitcoin from the Cobo vault into out to a different address, right? This is where the security of the Cobo vault comes in, all right? This is my Bitcoin address that I'm about to send to. So I'm just going to go over to the Cobo vault, to the Bitcoin wallet, and I'm going to tap the send button. And then I'm going to tap that little QR code or that scanning code icon over there on the side in order to open up the camera, right? And then using the camera of my phone, I'm going to scan that Bitcoin address in my Ledger Live. So you guys can see me do that. There's the Bitcoin address. I'm going to scan it with the Cobo Vault app. And then as you can see now, the app has the Bitcoin address in there. I just held up the camera to this QR code to get that Bitcoin address filled. And now that we've got the Bitcoin address filled, we're just going to put in our amount. All right, took me a minute to get the interface straight here. I got it. All right, and then we'll hit send. Okay, now this is where the security comes in. We're going to confirm that transaction. Now, what it's done here is created a outgoing transaction. This needs to be signed, okay? Whenever you send Bitcoin out from a wallet, any wallet, it needs to be signed. Now, desktop-based wallet, you are going to have that private key integrated into your desktop wallet, so you don't have to go through this step. And then on the ledger, when you sign a transaction, you do it with the buttons. The Cobo Vault is more secure in the sense that that private key is not even on your computer or connected to your computer in any way, right? So the Cobo Vault hardware device needs to scan this transaction. It needs to get an idea of, we're going to open it up with our fingerprint, right? All right. We're going to just open up the camera. Just there's a little icon over there. And we'll just scan that QR code in. That just told the Cobo Vault, okay, I want to send some Bitcoin out to this address. And there it's got that little sign button, right? All right. And then once I've tapped sign, I'm going to use my fingerprint to authorize. That's a little additional layer of security. So once the Cobo Vault knows where I want to send the Bitcoin and how much I want to send, it has me sign the transaction. Okay, and now it is generated. This is a signed transaction, right? Cryptographically signed transaction. The private key is not included in this. The private key remains on the device and was used to generate the signed transaction, but it is not in this QR code. So we're not sending out the private key at all. But now that we have this signed transaction, we're going to need to scan it in using the Cobo Vault app. All right, there it is, signed transaction. All right, now I'm going to use the Cobo Vault app. This is the second part of the send. I got to scan that QR code of the signed transaction. All right, and once we do that, we're ready to broadcast the transaction on the blockchain. We'll hit confirm there, and it was broadcasted successfully. So we generated a transaction, the Cobo Vault scanned it, and then once it got the transaction, it signed it and generated that signed transaction QR code, and then we scanned it again with the Cobo Vault app. And we should see the Bitcoin come into my wallet. There's that incoming Bitcoin transaction and the Bitcoin balance, right? So that's my confirmation that the Bitcoin actually went out and got received in the other wallet. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the Ethereum, just as like to reinforce this a little bit. Here's the Ethereum address I want to send to. All right, I'm going to open up the Ethereum app on the Cobo Vault app, Ethereum wallet. Right. I'm going to scan the destination. And once I scan the destination, I'll put in my amount and create the transaction. There's the transaction QR code, which I'm going to scan with the Cobo Vault again, right? Once the Cobo Vault gets all the information about the transaction, it wants to sign the transaction. There's that sign transaction button again. I'm going to tap it. It's going to sign the transaction cryptographically, and then it will generate a QR code. I'm going to confirm again with my fingerprint, which is pretty cool. And then we'll see that the Cobo Vault is generated the signed transaction. That's a QR code representation of the signed transaction. Now I'll complete part 2 of the send by scanning that signed transaction into the Cobo Vault app. And now we can broadcast the transaction on the blockchain. And it's been successfully broadcast. All right. And then also I'm going to show you here in my Ledger Live that the Ethereum arrived. Okay. The address that I was sending to was in my Ledger Live. And then we'll go back over there to that. Here you are. That's the address I scanned. There's the Ethereum account. right? You can see the Ethereum comes in right there. That's the amount adjusted, and there's the received amount, 24 bucks worth of Ethereum from the Cobo vault. All right, so that was just a confirmation that the Ethereum arrived. All right, so you saw me send 2 transactions out from the Cobo vault, right? And we start with the app on our phone to generate the transaction, right? And it generates a QR code, which we use the Cobo vault device to scan in for all the transaction information, right? How much I want to send, where I want to send it to. Cobo vault signs it and generates that signed transaction QR code, right? And then I scan that signed transaction QR code with the Cobo Vault app on my phone, and from there I can broadcast the transaction and send out the Bitcoin and or Ethereum, and it goes out to the destination, right? And you saw me confirm that both transactions arrived at their proper destinations. So that's it. You might want to watch the video over again. It's a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. It's a very secure device. I want to thank Cobo for sending it to me so that I could do this unboxing and demo for you guys. If there's any questions you have, please throw them up in the comments and I'll do my best to get them answered. Don't forget, I do a live stream every Saturday night now at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, new time. Please join me for the live Q&A from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. Hope to see you there. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me and hope to see you again soon.